بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجه. So last night we mentioned examples of ayatul ahkam, tafasir, that focuses on what, Dr. Ali? On the religious rulings, ahkam, what is halal and what is haram. And we gave examples of the other traditions. So in the fiqh of Hanafi, we gave the example of what book? In the Hanafi. Al-Jassas, Ahsant, Yusuf. In the Maliki, Ibn al-Arabi al-Maliki, al-Andalusi. In the Shafi'i tradition, what book was in the Shafi'i? Ayatul Ahkam. Al-Naysaburi. In the Hanbali, Abu Ya'la, Ahsant. So these are 4 examples of the 4 madahib. These are the most distinguished books, not the only ones. Maliki is Ibn al-Arabi. These are the most distinguished. Hanbali Abu Ya'la. Ya'la. Abu Ya'la. Abu Ya'la. He was faqih, Abu Ya'la. The Hanafi was Al-Jassas. The Maliki was Naysaburi. The Maliki was Ibn al-Arabi. The Shafi'i was Naysaburi. These are the most distinguished, not the only ones. Otherwise, in the Hanafi, they have many. In the Hanbali, in the Maliki, in the Shafi'i. And let's to be fair to others, let me give you the Zaydi also. The Zaydi is Al-Thamaratul Yani'ah. And his book is Al-Thamarat. Let me delete this. That is the Zaydi, Madhab al-Zaydi in Yemen. His book is Al-Thamarat al-Yafi'ah. This is a book that concentrate on Ahkam al-Quran, and his name is Shamsuddin al-Yamani. Shamsuddin al-Yamani and Thula'i. Thula'i means what? From where in Yemen? From a city called Thula. Thula, they say it was the most prosperous after Sana'a. The second most prosperous city in Yemen after Sana'a, by the name of Thula. Shamsuddin is from that one, and this is his book in Ayatul Ahkam. Now we come to Ahlul Bayt, to the school of Ahlul Bayt, and to the Imamis and the Shias. Also, there are not hundreds, but tens of books written on this subject, tafasir on Ayatul Ahkam. Tens, at least. I'm going to mention 3 or 4 that are the most famous, and inshallah, whenever you have time, if you can check them out, these books, if you can acquire them, that would be very good. If you travel, to the Middle East, you can acquire these books, it would be good. If not, you can even read them online. But we're going to study a specific one. We're going to study this one. This is 2 volumes. في تفسير آيات الأحكام دروس تمهيدية باقر الإيرواني, volume 1 and volume 2, because it's really, this is the English name. It's very comprehensive. And this man, he worked very hard to explain and do tafsir of these about 500 verses of ahkam in the Quran. I like his writings. He's a very honorable man. He still teaches in Najaf, one of the biggest classes in the shrine of Imam Ali alayhi salam is his class, Sheikh al-Irawani. From Yerevan. Where is Yerevan? The capital of where? Huh? Armenia. Because it was part of Iran. Azerbaijan, Armenia, and Georgia.
Gorgeous.
These three republics, now they are three republics, independent, but they were part of Iran. And then they were taken away, occupied by the Russians. He's Muslim, but his city was part of today's Armenia. Okay? Yerevan, Irawan or Yerevan in the Armenian language. So, let's go to the Shi'i books of Ahkam al-Quran, and the most distinguished one is Fiqh al-Quran. The title of his book is Fiqh al-Quran, and the author is Al-Qutb al-Rawandi. Qutbuddin al-Rawandi. Qutbuddin al-Rawandi he's great figure. Died 573. 573. Born where? In a village near Kashan in Iran. Buried where? In the courtyard of Lady Ma'sooma alayhi salam in Qom. You've been there, and you've been there. So in the courtyard, the outside courtyard, his grave is there. Not too far from the mausoleum. I've seen his grave. When we were students, we used to pass every day by these graves of those scholars. And there is a gravestone, and his name is written on the gravestone. So he's buried there.
So Rawandi is near Kashan?
Yes, this is a village from Tawaba, from the outskirts of Kashan. He was not only mufassir, he was faqih too. Because someone who writes fiqh al-Quran must be a faqih. So he was faqih. He was faqih, jurist, faqih, expert in Islamic law, faqih. He was also muhaddith. What is muhaddith? Please write the English translation when I say it. Faqih is jurist or expert in the Islamic law. Muhaddith is what?
Narrator of hadith.
Exactly. Narrator of hadith. So he's also scholar in the science of hadith. Muhaddith is a transmitter or narrator of hadith. Muhaddith al-Qummi. Don't you hear Muhaddith al-Qummi? Muhaddith is a big title. He's expert in the hadith. He can tell you whether this hadith is da'if, is qawi, is acceptable, is rejectable, is what? He's going to tell you. Muhaddith. And then he's mu'arrikh. Mu'arrikh is what? What is mu'arrikh? Exactly, from tarikh. Mu'arrikh from tarikh, which is historian. Historian. And also, he is mufassir. Mufassir is an exegist. Mufassir of the Quran. Mufassir is exegist. Mufassir, exegist, the one who explains the Quran. Exegesis. Okay? And then last but not least, he's what? He's mutakallim. Mutakallim. What is mutakallim, my friends?
Theologian.
Exactly. Mutakallim is theologian.
Like a philosopher.
specific philosophy. We have philosopher, we have theologian. Philosopher is general philosophy. Theologian is ilmul kalam. Ilmul kalam specifically focuses on monotheism, ilmul tawheed, or the aqidah. Not general philosophy, specific religious philosophy. Religious philosophy, ilmul kalam. Okay? Specific type of philosophy. Theology. Okay. He is student of the Tabrasi. Tabrasi before him wrote مجمع البيان في تفسير القرآن. Tabrasi. Tabrasi from where? Where is Tabaristan? And Tabaristan, amazingly, subhanallah, Tabaristan produced the largest number of scholars in the Sunni and Shia tradition. In the Sunni and Shia tradition, the largest number of mufassir, mu'arrikh, faqih, muhaddith, in both traditions, subhanallah, fertile. Sometimes land is fertile with, with coconut, with a strawberry, like Irvine here. And sometimes it's fertile with ulama, subhanallah. Something special about it. It's Tabaristan is on the Caspian Sea, you know, Bahar Qazwin, northern Iran. So he's from there, Majma' al-Bayan, al-Tabarsi from there. And so he was, Qutbuddin al-Rawandi, he was influenced, inspired by his mentor and his teacher, who wrote Majma' al-Bayan, which is one of the best tafasir in the school of Ahl al-Bayt. You must have it at home. Every Shi'i, every Muwali, every loyal to Ahl al-Bayt has to have this book, Majma' al-Bayan fi tafsir al-Quran, and translated to Farsi. So I don't know about Urdu, maybe in India and Pakistan, maybe they translate it to Urdu too. Huh? I don't know about English. I don't think so. Or if they did, maybe part of it, not all of it. Very difficult to translate to English. English is not an adequate language. It's not rich. English is not rich, believe me. Compared to the Arabic, don't get me wrong. When you put it next to Arabic, it's very inadequate. You cannot translate everything. You cannot. Some of these terms are theological terms, you know. It doesn't have a counterpart in English. Doesn't have. Therefore, those who translate the Quran, may God help them. They work very hard, but still they don't convey the exact meaning. Not because there is deficiency in them. The language itself is not rich. It's not rich. How can I pour an ocean into a lake? I can't. So this man has written over 60 books. Each book of them is an encyclopedia. Not book like this one. One of his books is the tafsir of what? The explanation of what? Sharh what? Huh? No, Ayat al-Ahkam is this one, Fiqh al-Quran. But he did something else. Sharh of what? Another book. Another important book in the school of Ahl al-Bayt. Ahsant. Sharh Nahj al-Balagha. He wrote Minhaj al-Bara'a. Minhaj al-Bara'a fi Sharh Nahj al-Balagha. And my friends, if you remember what I said several months ago, I said the best Sharh of Nahj al-Balagha and the most popular one is what? Which one? Written by whom? No, Tabarsi, he wrote the Quran. Sharh Nahj al-Balagha, there are more than 100 sharh on Nahj al-Balagha. More than 100. But the best one among them and the most popular is written by a Mu'tazilite. What's his name, Dr. Ali? Very popular. Ibn Abil Hadid. Ibn Abi al-Hadid al-Mu'tazili. Mu'tazilite. He wrote, and I have it at home, 20 volumes. 20 volumes. Nahj al-Balagha is only this thick, but the translation of it, 20 volumes. This is one translation. There are others and others and others. Now this man, Ibn Abil Hadid, he learned from this sharh, which is written by Qutb al-Din al-Rawandi. Ibn Abil Hadid, who's iconic, who's very famous in explaining Nahj al-Balagha, depended on this man, our man, Qutb al-Din al-Rawandi. So he took much of his book, Minhaj al-Bara'ah. Who's what? Say that again.
Who wrote 60 books?
This guy. Qutb al-Din al-Rawandi, see, wrote more than 60 books. One of his work is Minhaj al-Bara'ah, which has many volumes in Sharh Nahj al-Balagha. And it is so important that Ibn Abil Hadid, who came after him, I cannot say plagiarized, no, this is not correct. But he depended. He depended in much of his work on this book. Because it was customary in the past to get from what others wrote and put it in your own book. They don't call it plagiarism. They call it he's in agreement with that scholar. So he's repeating what that scholar, but because he puts in the footnote that this is what such and such said, he does not attribute it to himself. If he attributes that to himself, this is a plagiarism. But he's saying, this is a quotation from such and such. Yes, Nadeem.
So the Mu'tazilat appeared after his
Yes, yeah. This man, not the Mu'tazilite. The Mu'tazilite did exist even before.
Before him.
Yeah, the Abbasid era. But this man, Ibn Abil Hadid, he came later and he got his i'tamada. I'tamada means he depended in his sharh on this book. I'tamada. They use the word i'tamada, depended. Okay, relied. In his work on this book. Okay. Yeah. But he's Mu'tazilite, yeah. He's not Ash'arite. There is a difference. In the Sunnis, they have Ash'arite and Mu'tazilite. Mu'tazilite are closer to the Imamite. Okay? It's interesting. He's Sunni, but he always defends Imam Ali alayhi salam. And he says, number one after the Prophet is Ali ibn Abi Talib. Not through emotions, through evidence. This is why his book, I read it when I was 18 years old. I read his book. The book of this man. You must read, every Shia must read the Sharh Nahj al-Balagha of Ibn Abil Hadid. Because he stood with Ahl al-Bayt. Despite being a Sunni, he said Ahl al-Bayt are there. This is why some people say he's a Shia. Come on, he's a Shia. Look at what he says. I don't care what he calls himself. Look at his work. Okay. And then, of course, this is a very important book, by the way. Fiqh al-Quran. It could be, Allah al-Alim. It could be one of the best books in the Imami tradition vis-a-vis Ayatul Ahkam, in regards to Ayatul Ahkam. It could be the best book, the most comprehensive book. Yes, Fiqh al-Quran. The name is Fiqh al-Quran. Something interesting he says in his book, I can't just leave it without saying that. He says in his book, Qutb al-Rawandi, he says, you as a scholar, inshallah, all of you are scholars, you're going to be asked by people. People come to ask you questions. And people are of three types who come and ask you questions. Two types, don't spend much time with them. Try to just answer exactly their questions. Do they tell you that at the airport, when the immigration officer asks you a question, just answer him accordingly? If he says, what is your name? Mustafa. Don't tell him Mustafa, my father Murtada, grandfather Muhammad Sadiq, Sayyid Hashim, I am from. Don't. We have a friend, one day the FBI, they knocked at his house. So he freaked out. He thought that he's citizen, but sometimes they don't have self-confidence. So he opened, he brought them coffee, tea, food. Wallah, he told me. I got angry at him. I said, why do you do this? And then the FBI asks him one question, he gives him 2 volumes of answers, mashallah, about everyone. Don't do this, don't. So he says, the inquirers are of 3 types. 2 types, type number 1, type number 2, just answer them very briefly. Don't waste your time with them. The third one, yes, spend time and answer him extensively. So who is the first type? The first type, فَإِنْ كَانَ عَامِّيًا. Ammi. Ammi is what? Huh?
Not ignorant.
Common, yes, common. Who does not have education. This is the meaning of it. Not just common. Common, who doesn't have much education. Ammi. Yeah, Ammi. 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 Ammi translated into public. Common, public. But here specifically means, in Iran they say awam. Farsi language they say awam. Okay? He doesn't have, he's humble in his understanding. His brain is humble, so you have to take it easy on him. He tells you, is this halal or haram? Just tell him, yeah, halal, do it. Don't go further than that because he gets confused. Or tell him, no, this is haram. Don't give him many options. He gets confused. This is the first one. What is the second? Mu'anid, obstinate. Mu'anid. Mu'anid is what? Stubborn. He's there to argue with you. He's not to learn. His goal is not to learn. His goal is to waste your time. You bring him the evidence, he says something else. Amir al-Mu'mineen says, whenever I debated with any intellectual, I defeated him. One person defeated me, Ahmaq. I could not defeat him, he defeated me, the Ahmaq. Because whatever I bring him, he says something else. So this is Mu'anid. He says, Mu'anid also, don't waste your time with him, okay? And don't allow him to go further in arguing with you. Don't. Cut it back. Cut it back, let him go. Save yourself. But the third one, who's the third one? Mustafid. Mustafid. Muta'allim. Someone who is thirsty for knowledge. He really wants to learn. He appreciates what you tell him. He respects you. He humbles himself before you. That person, speak to him, answer him extensively and comprehensively in details, because your time is not wasted. Subhanallah. Subhanallah. The hadith says, not only the students should be humble before his teacher, وَتَوَاضَعُوا لِمَنْ تُعَلِّمُونَهُ الْعِلْمِ. Humble yourself to those that you teach too. Now we know the students are humble before the teacher because they are learning from the teacher. But how come the teacher becomes humble before his student? وَتَوَاضَعُوا لمن تعلمونه العلم. If you want people to listen and benefit from you, you have to humble yourself. If you speak arrogantly, maybe you deliver your class, your lecture, your presentation, but people are not going to benefit from that. نعم.
Sorry, who gave these descriptions?
قطب الدين الراوندي. In his book, فقه القرآن, part of it, this is what he says. This is part of what he says in his book. Okay, let's go to the second book. And I conclude with the second book because it has an interesting story. Where is the eraser? Oh, thank you. Okay. The second important book in the Shia tradition is Zubdatul Bayan. Zubda means what, my friend? Yeah, butter, but in language it has something else. It means the elite, the core, the essence. The essence. Zubdatul Kalam means the essence of his speech. Zubdatul Bayan fi ahkam al-Quran. Ahkam al-Quran. And this author is, who's the author? Great man. Great man. His name is Al-Muhaqqiq, and sometimes they call him Al-Muqaddas. Al-Ardabili. Born where? Born Ardabil. Turkish. Died where? Najaf, and he's buried in the shrine of Amir al-Mu'mineen, alayhi salatu wassalam. Great man. Died 450 years ago. Exactly, to be accurate, 448 years ago died. 450 years ago. He lived through the Safawi era in Iran. And he enjoyed the freedom that did exist during the Safawide to spread the knowledge of Ahl al-Bayt, alayhim as-salam. And he was contemporary with Shaykh al-Bahai. Shaykh al-Bahai, he was contemporary with Shaykh al-Bahai. And then when he became the marja' 500 years ago, he was the marja' of the Shia. And the seat of marja'iyah was where? Najaf. They say Shi'ism flourished during his time, and the marja'iyah also flourished during his time. Note that he has another title, Muqaddas. He's Muhaqqiq, researcher, and Muqaddas. They don't give this, maybe they give this title, frequently. But this one, they don't give it frequently. They don't give it to anyone. Why he is Muqaddas? Muqaddas means holy. Because they narrated many karamat from his life and his manners and his legacy and his lifestyle. Many karamat. And he would frequently meet Imam al-Hujjah alayhi salatu wassalam. And they say whenever he faced a tough situation, whether in social life, whether regarding the marja'iyah, regarding what is happening to the community, he will go to the haram of Amir al-Mu'mineen. And people who observed him at that time, they say when he about to come inside the haram, the gates automatically opens for him. They've seen this many times. And then he stands before the shrine and he speaks to Amir al-Mu'mineen. And then he comes out with an answer. He has karamat. This man is very special. Muqaddas. He's Muqaddas. I read this story, which is a true story, about his birth. Because those people do not become Muqaddas overnight. They go to bed tonight and then in the morning they are Muqaddas. It doesn't happen like that. It requires a lot of exercises. A lot of exercises. And sometimes it predates our birth. Something happened before we are born. Something our parents did. Not just us, even our parents. They say his mother was so chaste that she never even looked at another man, let alone thinking about another man, not even looked at another man in her life. And whenever she nursed him, whether winter, summer, she had to do tahara and wudu. She had to be in the state of ritual purity. And that is not easy. Not easy. Ask your wives when the baby cries in the middle of the night, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., and the mother. And at that time, 500 years ago, where there were no running waters in the homes, people did not have running water at home. Winter was harsh. Water was not available. Then she does wudu to nurse her son. This is not easy. It's not easy at all. It really requires a lot of sacrifices, a lot of jihad. They say his father, during his young age, one day was walking on the bank of the river, and he saw an apple, piece of apple floating, and he was hungry. So he grabs the apple. Since he was hungry, he eats it. But then after he eats it, he asks himself, listen, how did you eat this? Do you know the honor? It could have an honor here. And is the honor okay with it? So he started asking himself, because he was pious, he was God-fearing. This is before his marriage. So he decided to look for the honor of this apple. And he said, since the apple was moving down the river, so I have to trace, the journey of this apple and see where did it, fall down in the river, which ranch, which farm, which bustan, which tree. So he walked until he reached a farm which was on the bank of the river, and it had trees. Some of these trees, the branches of the trees, what do they call them? Not touch, but bending towards the river. So he knew that these are apple trees, and so he went inside the ranch. He saw a man standing there. He said to him, I saw one of your apples, probably most likely yours, and I picked it up and I ate this. So I want you to make it halal for me. The man said to him, no, I don't make it halal. So how you should have asked me. Not now. Now it's too late, and I don't accept that from you, and it is haram. So he said, okay, I will pay you whatever it takes. He says, no, I don't want to take money from you. You should have asked me my permission before you eat it. He said, but now it's too late. I was hungry. The man, the owner of the farm, the farmer, realized that this young guy is pious. Otherwise, he would not waste his time and come asking for permission. He will eat and leave, But because he came and he's asking permission and insisting to get the permission, it means he has good seeds in him. So he liked him, but he wanted to test him, put him to test. He said to him, I have one condition to forgive you and make that halal for you. He said, yeah, what is it? He said, to marry my daughter. But my daughter is blind. She's blind, she's deaf, she's mute, and she's paralyzed. She's sitting in the room here. That's the only way I can forgive you. The man said to him, La ilaha illallah. I didn't do a crime. Why do you, do this to me? I just ate one apple. Does it really need to marry your daughter to expiate and to do kafara of this? He said, I don't care. If you really are concerned, seriously concerned about me okaying this, what you did, then that's the only thing I understand, nothing else. I have a daughter, I'm stuck with her. You have to marry her. He said, okay, if that's what it takes to make you happy and to be okay with this, I'm ready to do this. Subhanallah. So the man realized that this is pious because he's willing to do anything to earn his satisfaction, to make it halal, the luqmah. This is regarding the food. An example of how luqmatul halal is important. It has repercussions on our children, our families, our morals. So he said, okay, I'm ready. Inna lillah. But he was reluctant. He was reluctant because he's not ready for marriage. Besides, he wants to give him a blind and deaf and, everything. He said, okay, but because that's the only one that satisfies you, I'm ready to do it. He said, okay, come inside. He invites him inside, and then he brings the family, and it's about time to do aqd. Aqd, this story is probably 550, 600 years ago. It was so easy, at that time. So when they gather, the family gathers there, and he's sitting in the middle, all of a sudden, they bring him a very beautiful lady. She's a, what they call her here? Beauty queen? Beauty queen. Her eyes are big, beautiful, everything in her beautiful. And she speaks and she smiles. And so he said, why then you told me? They say he freaked out. He thought this is the wrong person. They brought him the wrong girl. So he went out of the room, and his father-in-law he chased him. He said, where do you go? He said, because you brought me the wrong person. I don't want to look at her. He said, no, she's not the wrong person. She's the right person. He said, then why? Why did you lie to me? He said, I didn't lie to you. When I said blind, I meant spiritually blind. She did not look at anything which is non-mahram or haram in her life. I know her. I raised her. When I said she's deaf, she did not listen to any ghiba in her life. When I said mute, she did not lie at all. When I said she's paralyzed, she did not leave this ranch in her life. She didn't go out. She spent her time. Maybe she's 13 or 14 or 15, that's the typical age of marriage. So I meant these things. And then I was thinking, who should I give her in marriage? Who deserves this? So I was always praying to Allah. Allah, you know my daughter. You know her qualities. You know her chastity. You have to send me someone. Those I see around me, they are not qualified. I kept praying. And this is not an accident. When you eat the apple floating in the water, it's not an accident. Subhanallah, today I was speaking to someone in Belgium. This morning I was speaking to someone in Belgium. He's Sayyid. He said to me, Sayyidna, there is no accident in this universe. I said to him, exactly. This is what Allah says in the Quran. وَكُلُّ شَيْءٍ عِنْدَهُ بِمِقْدَارٍ. Anything that takes place in this life, it's with measurement. With measurement, بِمِقْدَار. Nothing is accident, nothing. So the man said to him, I know that God sent you. Otherwise, who would come and ask for permission? These apples are, dangling in the water, and they go with the water, and thousands of people are eating them, enjoying them. None so far came to ask me permission, to ask for halal, except you. And then I tested you when I said to you, my daughter is blind, deaf, mute, paralyzed. You still were ready to marry her just to satisfy me, just to make your luqma, your food halal. So this means you are pious. So he married her, and out of that marriage, this man, Muqaddas al-Ardabili, who became a marja of the followers of Ahl al-Bayt during his lifetime. Of course, he has many books. The most important book in fiqh, which could be more important than this tafsir, Majma'ul Fa'ida. Majma'ul Fa'ida, his book in fiqh, Majma'ul Fa'idati. The whole name is it? Well, Majma'ul Fa'ida wal Burhan. والبرهان في شرح it's a long name في شرح إرشاد الأذهان. This is his book in fiqh. So he has many books. By the name, his name, by the way, his name is Ahmad ibn Muhammad. So Ahmad ibn Muhammad, this is his name. Muqaddas al-Ardabili or So he died 448 years ago in year 993 Hijri. This is his death, 993 Hijri, and he's buried in the shrine of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salatu wassalam. There are other books, which, we have other books of Ayatul Ahkam, but inshallah these two examples are enough. وصلى الله وسلم على سيدنا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. اللهم صل على محمد.